Welcome to the Midwest. My name is Jesse, and summer is coming. It is on its way, and the green is on the trees. It's just really beautiful. But I had a question from, and I gotta say, I hope this is your name. I don't know if it's your real name, but I had a question from, here it comes, somebody named Robotron Van Buren. So if that's not your real, don't even tell me if it's not your real name. Let's just go with that. You've got like your picture on Facebook is like a Donald Trump with lasers coming out of his eyes. I don't care. I just love the idea that your name is Robotron Van Buren. Anyway, so Robotron asks this question. He's kind of distraught because this is his first full year of doing Wim Hof method. He's had a great winter. He's enjoyed the cold weather. Now that the warm weather is coming, we all, if you've been taking regular cold showers, you may not know this, but in the summertime, most of us experience warmer cold showers. For instance, in the wintertime, I can usually expect about 45 to 50 degrees in my cold shower. And it gets down that low in the depths of winter. In the summertime, it's hard to get it to go much below 70 degrees. All this is Fahrenheit, by the way, for my Celsius people. So what do? How do you train in the summer months? Let's talk about that today. Oh yeah. Okay. Pretty sweet snow angel. Okay, so I forgot my actual equipment today, so I'm using my cell phone just propped up against something right now, so pardon the alignment if the alignment's off. What I have here is a bucket of ice, and this is as much ice as I could get out of my ice machine. My ice machine was full, so I just unloaded it into this bucket of ice. I've got a gallon of water. This is a jug that I refill regularly with tap water, so that's all that's in there. I did not buy a gallon of water just to do this demonstration. But what I want to talk to you guys about just for a minute is basically when it gets warm outside, you have to get creative with how you train. Now, let's remember one thing. When we are cold training, we are really doing we're training a lot of different parts of our body and mind. One of the things that I think, and Robotron made the comment about depression. He was treating some depression, and that's gone away, and he's starting to feel as though that may come back, and that's pretty common. I have a lot of practitioners, a lot of my people that come to my workshops have seasonal depression or just overall just suffer from depression just in general, and ice bathing and cold water, cold showers, those sorts of things really do help. And this is for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons is that it is training our central nervous system. So when we give our central nervous system a whole bunch of input, more input than it's used to taking in, we benefit from it. We generally see a improvement in just the way we think and feel. So when I'm going to show you the ice bucket challenge, is what a lot of people know this as. This is not, and if you're not familiar with Wim Hof method ice bucket challenge, this is not the ALS ice bucket challenge. But what this is, basically, I'm putting a whole bunch, just like as much ice as I can fit in there, and then I'm filling up the rest with water. So okay, so that's about good. So I've got just basically a bucket of water, a bucket of ice water. Oh, there it went. All right, hang with me. I might have to redo this, I don't know. Bless you. Oh, okay, here we go. So what I've got here is just a bucket of ice water. Essentially, you may have already started doing this during the cold seasons, but essentially we're going to put our hand in there and we're going to do extremity training. Extremity training is something I highly recommend that you do all summer long, because come winter time you want to be able to go out into the snow and ice, and let me just tell you this, as somebody who does extremity training often, or someone who does snow and ice training often, the hands and feet are always, the extremities are always the thing that make you go inside fastest, okay? They're the things that are always going to give out on you and hurt before anything else does. So extremity training is awesome for prepping for the next year. It's also sending a large amount of information to the central nervous system. It's stressing the central nervous system. And so you're getting a very similar thing because of the intensity. It's just like anytime you've stubbed your toe or you've hurt a finger. There's an enormous amount of intensity that comes up to your central nervous system, and you can't concentrate on anything else. Okay, so we are training. It's not the same, right? It's not exactly the same, but we are still training the central nervous system. We're training the vascular system in these very difficult to train areas. And we're building resilience. A lot of the same things that Wim Hof method, or just your cold showers, or ice walks, snow walks, things like that. A lot of the same things are happening, okay? Another thing is, I'm not gonna do it on this video because after this I have to go to do a bunch of things. I don't wanna have like a wet face or it might just kind of look weird, but basically, when you're doing the extremity training with your hands, shoot for about 2 minutes, work your way up to maybe 4 minutes max. Don't go any more than 4 minutes. It's really not going to help you to go any more than 4 minutes. And then in the cold shower, here's what you do. Okay, so you've got this. Now you can do this before or after your cold shower, or both. But when you're in the cold shower, oh, not again. Not again. All right, I'm just going to hold this. Okay, so when you're in the cold shower, what you can do is put this bucket on the, I guess, the floor, put it on the base, and put 1 foot in it. And take like a 10-minute cold shower with 1 foot in a ice bucket for 5 minutes, and then switch over for the last 5 minutes in the cold shower. Believe me, you're going to notice there is going to be a difference. You will notice that difference. Your extremity training, and you're getting a greater degree of cold training. Another thing you can do is right before you get in, and I would recommend doing this before you put your feet, especially into the ice. But right before you get into the shower, stick your face in there. Okay, just go all the way in there. You're gonna elicit the mammalian dive reflex, and you're also going to train your vagal nerve. And if you want to find out more about a well-toned vagal nerve and all the benefits of that, go ahead and just Google it. It's a pretty easy to find thing as far as information on the vagal nerve. There's a lot of training we can do whenever it's warm and the cold showers aren't as cold as they should be, or I guess as we want them to be. As long as you're at 60, generally the common held conception is 68 degrees or lower, and this is Fahrenheit again, is pretty awesome for therapeutic cold showers, okay? 70 degrees, somewhere around there is okay too, and it's gonna definitely always vary. So don't get too upset about that. The other thing is, I would recommend to say, okay, it's summertime, now's when I'm gonna buy that blow-up pool that only fits 1 person. I mean, it's a small blow-up pool or whatever, but maybe once a week, I'm going to make the investment in getting some ice. Now it's going to vary how much ice you get because of the size of the pool. I have a 100-gallon horse trough that I use, and so for my 100-gallon horse trough, I need at least 100 to 120 pounds of ice. And yeah, that's a lot, and it gets expensive if you do it every day. But according to the PNAS study, participants who took an ice bath had raised levels of white blood cells for up to 6 days after their ice bath. So a lot of these benefits, you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to use what I know, and you can go to wimhofmethod.com and find out all the science. And I think that was the PNAS study. It may have been another study, but I do know that that was shown 6 days of elevated white blood cell count. That's awesome. And that's just with one ice bath, and then for the next 6 days they had that. There are enormous amount of things you can do. Another thing is, if you can't necessarily get it as down as far as cold goes, you can still do volume. So okay, maybe think about how long you were doing a cold shower. Well, maybe you're going to take a longer cold shower. I always say, for me, anything longer than 10 minutes is a waste of water, and that's why the extremity training while you're doing a cold shower is a great way to go. Maybe you'll do multiple times where you submerge your face into ice water. It doesn't take that much ice to get an ice bucket like this. I have an average refrigerator, and that's what I put in there, just the ice tray there. And overnight it will replenish itself. The only thing is, obviously, if anybody wants to make a cold beverage, I'm sorry, you'll just have to kind of say sorry about that, And believe me, I've apologized to my wife quite a few times about that myself. They have to learn to accept us for who we are, right? So, but those are some ideas. Those are some ways to train in the cold while it's not cold outside, and while the water out of the faucet or out of the shower is not quite as cold. You have to get creative. You have to get resourceful. Now, there is another video that I did because I got to the point where I wanted to take an ice bath every day. Every single day I want to have that option. And so what I did is I made a investment in a deep freezer, and I turned it into my ice bath machine. And I have another video. If just take a look at my videos, I have another video about how to make that, how to build one for yourself if you want to do that. It's not necessary, but it's something that for me, I felt like, okay, I've come to this point. I've been doing it for this many years. I want to take an ice bath every day. And so I did. But if you're not quite ready for that, or if you don't have the space, or if you don't have the, if that's just not for you, then don't worry about it. This is also, I will say this, summertime is also a great time to do a workshop. If you can find a workshop, find a certified Wim Hof Method instructor near you. I don't know where Robotron lives. I want to know all about Robotron. Where do you live? What do you eat? Like, can you shoot lasers out of your eyes? Is that your real name? I so want it to be your real name. Anyway, Robotron, I hope that was helpful for you. And if you have any further questions, or if there's any questions over anything I talked about that maybe I should have explained more, I'm totally happy to make another video and go in further in depth. But those are things that I would recommend. Oh, one more thing, and I'm going to talk about this in another video too, but just while I'm at it, let's add this little extra thing to the end. Whenever you make an ice bath, okay, there's a lot of people who want to make ice baths using frozen containers. So they'll buy a maybe a 24 pack of bottled water, and then they'll freeze all those little bottled waters, and then they'll put them in like an ice tub and have that be their ice bath. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. Once you've had a real ice bath and then you go and try that, you're just gonna know it's not the same. That the plastic is keeping you from the pleasure. Seriously, it's not going to do. I know and hey, if that's all you've got, that's a great way to try. It's better than nothing. It'll at least cool the water down, but it's not really going to be an ice bath if you have ice in a plastic container in the water. It's not going to make it's definitely not the same thing, okay? Let's at least put it that way. It's not the same thing. Guys, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Please like, subscribe, etc., and go out there and try to be nice to people. Oh, yeah. sweet snow angel.